All right. Well, we are back again with Tyler, the bow tie loan guy from American Pacific Mortgage. And so we kind of touched on closing costs very. I think it was like one little snippet in our last one. So we want to dive deeper into that and talk about those closing costs. And that way you guys are prepared when you start this process, knowing that no, your down payment is not all that you need in the bank. And so there are some other costs involved with buying real estate. So I'll let you take it away, Tyler.
Thanks so much for having me again, Christine. It is always a pleasure. And yes, as we talked about in our last video, assets play a huge part in getting pre-approved. But as we talked about very briefly, there are closing costs in addition to your down payment. So the closing costs include the cost of getting the loan and purchasing the home, essentially. So these are going to be your appraisal fee, escrow fee, title fee, transfer taxes, any points you pay for buying your interest rate down, all those fun things. So that's the closing cost part. And then there's also a part called your prepaid portion. So this is going to be your homeowner's insurance and your property taxes that you pay up front. That way they are paid for you by your servicer. So in California, if you put more than 10% down on a conventional loan, you can opt to pay the taxes and the insurance yourself, which will save you a little bit when setting up the loan and not having an impound account. But then you are responsible for paying those yourself.
Right. And don't forget, because you big problem if you
Yeah,
forget to pay those. So now as far as the cost, I typically tell my clients that they need between 2 to 3% um of the purchase price for those closing costs. Do you think that's a good rough estimate, or am I telling them the wrong thing and you can set me straight?
I would say that's a very good estimate. Typically, I mean, it really depends on the property type, and really we won't know all the fees until we get into escrow. So I think it's great that you're giving them that range. I think the 2% is going to be more of a minimum. The 3% is really gonna prepare them to be ready for either having a little bit of cash left over, or just being prepared for either higher taxes, higher fees. I think that's a very good range. So 2 to 3%. Yeah, typically in our area, you're going to see anything from $8,000 up to 12 or 13,000 in closing costs, depending on the purchase price.
Got it. Well, and of course, if they always have money over, they can go party, right?
Exactly,
They
exactly.
might
And they
us.
can get that couch and exactly, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right.
So
Well,
always better to have a little bit left over there for sure.
definitely. So it's always best to prepare yourself for, having that extra money for your down payment, having that extra money for your closing costs, and that way, if you don't have it, then you still have that nest egg. You haven't used it all, but better to go in well prepared. And being able, this can be a fun experience and not stressing out as to where you're going to get that extra $500 to close the deal. So
Exactly. Peace of mind right there.
yeah. So awesome. Well, thank you once again for joining me, Tyler. And I'm sure we will have you back. We'll have plenty more to talk about on the lending side. And if you guys ever need a lender, even if you're not buying a home, if you're refinancing, make sure you give them a call. So, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for having me again. We'll see you next time.